services and Google Play and Google accounts. So hopefully you brought your checkbook with you today, because it's not free. So it used to be free, but it's not free anymore. But I'm really going to focus on the maps, so Google Maps. And let's take a look. Let me show you at the bhacker.com website, actually, where you're going to download. You're not going to be able to run the sample project. You'll have to build a project on your own, and you need to get your own mapping key. So let me just introduce you to this, and actually part of your homework tonight could be, or your homework later on, could be to establish your Google account. You know, if you're gonna get serious about this. So what we're looking at then is Map version 2 lecture tutorial and Map version 2 solution. But as I mentioned before, solution isn't really going to do very much for you. So we'll build a map program, and I'll show you Google Play at the same time. But that's the one we're working on. So let me talk about the concept here. Google went, well, it went Apple on us. It decided at one point, past the market, that everything is going to be provided through Google Play and Google Play services. That's all fine and dandy, except now they charge you a monthly, they charge you an annual fee. It's like 25 or so bucks or something like that to get a Google account. Not your Google Gmail account, it's a separate Google account. Then they link it to your Google Gmail account, and I just spent the last 10 minutes trying to unlink it. But long story short, it's all tied in with Google. So you have to have a Google Gmail account originally. You sign in and then you subscribe. And what I'll do is I'll sign out of the one I'm in right now. Now that I know which one it is, so I can show you the screens to sign up for a Google Play service account. Why do you need this? If you ever want to upload an app into Google Play, you need this. It's an annual fee. You don't necessarily need to do it today. You could just watch along. You can decide later if you want to actually sign up for a Google Play account. Cloud services, mapping services, frameworks for LinkedIn, for Facebook, for everything is all tied through Google services. Not such a good thing, but I mean, there's pros and cons to it. Everything changed with the API level, I want to say 8 or 9, which is what Android 3 Plus or so. So mapping services requires version 2.5 or above. So you got to work with one of the current APIs. Doesn't work with the Android emulators. You have to actually use a real device for it, for the maps actually, or you have to actually get like an Android VirtualBox emulator that supports the mapping services, or install the Google and see if you can get one of the Android emulators to work. I'll go through that as well. So the tutorial is going to cover the configuration steps required for showing a map. This is just for getting the map to work, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. So the map APIs for Google have been updated. They use the Google Play Services library. Rolls out the new Android devices for the Play Store, Google Play Store. So to test it out, we're going to do the following. So you need to first, and this might take a while actually, so let's just start doing this now before you even look at the Google accounts. You got to upgrade your Android SDK to support it. So you want to download the Google Play Services from the IDE, choosing a window menu, Android SDK Manager, and then Google Play Services. So let's bring up Eclipse, if you don't have it loaded already. And then this can be updated while we're looking at other stuff. This is going to take a while. So we may or may not finish it. I'm not going to worry about getting us out at any particular time. So we may or may not finish this tutorial today, but at least we've got a good start. So hit on Window, and then go into the Android SDK Manager. And it's going to be in the Extras folder. So depending upon which version of which API that you have installed, we have to prepare our systems to actually work with Google Play Services. So let's take a look here. If you scroll down to the bottom, so at the top you've got the general tools. I'm going to close mine up so I can see. And then I've got my API version 4, my 3, my 2, and I've got certain parts of it installed. I've got a lot of stuff actually, it looks like, in here. If I go all the way to the bottom, I don't necessarily have to minimize all this stuff, but I am making it simple. You see an Extras folder. You want to give, let's see, we need mapping services, but we also need Google Play Services. That's for Froyo. That's the earlier one. You can take all the extras if you want. It'll provide you with everything. Or you can search for it. We just need this one here, but we need the regular one. So we need this one here. Google Play Service is the right one underneath it. The one for Froyo is outdated. It's the version 12. I only have the version 13, API level 13. But of all of the things here, this is the one you need. You need Google Play Services. So you can start your download now if you haven't got this installed. Most people don't have the extras installed by default. So that's where you're going to start with. The other stuff, you might have an interest in it. It's for the cloud messaging and stuff, but you have to sign up for Google accounts for this. So in order to use any of this stuff, actually, even the maps, you have to give Google $25 in order to put a map on your app, which I think that's the part I don't like, actually. I mean, it seems kind of ridiculous to have to do that. But you're going to see in a few minutes how it's done. All right, so go ahead and download Google Play Services if you don't have it installed already. And this is the one here. This is a better looking interface, actually. So it's in the extras folder. Now we're going to create a new project. Well, actually, before we do that, while this is downloading, I'm going to deviate a little bit from here and show you the Google Play Services at the website. So I'm going to exit out of here because I don't have to download it. Hopefully your download is running. Your download is going to run and it's going to update your Android system. Now, in order to use the Google Play Services, you have to have a Google Play account, developer account. I'm logged in right now in my developer account, and I have, this is the one for ITU actually, and I have one app in here, ITU Mobile, 1.1 version in here. And so I'm going to sign out because oh man, now see if I can get back to it. Now I'm stuck to the Google. This is what happened to me at the break. Somehow now I have all my accounts, not all of them, just these 3 accounts linked up. And that was number 2. So this one doesn't have anything. This one's not, yeah, okay, so this one doesn't have a Google account associated with it. And I'm so glad I got this error message, because before I was getting the ITU one mixed in with my personal email. Anyway, go to play.google.com. Shoot. Let's just do it this way. We want to sign up for developer account for Google Play. And now I'm back. Okay. So I had to go. I don't know how to get in. So sign into Google's Google account, and then you want to go into and accept a developer agreement. So this is the URL I ended up in when I did this. I don't have one linked to this account. Problem is you have to sign up, and then there's a $25 fee that you have to pay. You don't have to do this right now. I'm just showing you. You can do this later on after you decide you want to do this. A lot of people don't. If you're not going to use the mapping feature, you're not going to need this ever. Or if you're not thinking about putting an app into the Google Play. So your Google account, unfortunately, recently got changed over, so it's all integrated. So the first thing you have to have is a Gmail account. Once you have a Gmail account, sign into your Gmail account. Go into, I couldn't find the link on play.google.com, but apparently there's probably a link there to get to this point. So if you get to this point, you sign in with your Google account, then you accept a developer agreement. Then you pay the registration fee of $25. Then you get your complete account details that come out of that. So instead, because I'm signed in under this account, I'm going to see if I could switch it because I don't want to pay another $25 here, and I don't want to relink my account. So sign in with a different account. I'm going to try and do that. Or here we go, create a new Google account now. Sign it in. So I'm going to go back and sign it in with my other account, which I hope is this one. It is. Perfect. So this one is actually linked to a valid developer account. So, and this one I paid the $25 for. So in the developer console, I have a couple of other things, like configuration windows, but I also have, let me try and find it. It's another window that gives me all of the services. Let's just do it this way. No. Well, the screenshot is actually in the PDF file, so let's see if I can get to the PDF. They recently just changed everything completely. But there's another address here. Maybe I can just go to the URL. That is here. It's https Google. There we go. Okay. So it's going to send me now. I'm going to try this Cloud Console. So it sends you into the. Once you sign up for this account, there's no clear way of getting into the account. Instead, you have to go through all of these oddball links that you have to click on to sign up for services and things. So in order to use the maps, you actually have to get a certificate from your computer, upload it into Google, then download an API key and add your API key to the project. So I'm going to go through and set up a new app, because I actually have to change the API key because I don't have it on this computer, which means it's not going to run in my emulator correctly. So let me go through, let me back up a little bit, go through the steps, and we'll see how this works. But I wanted to give you the big picture before I started. Alright, so number one, we're downloading and we're installing the Google Play Services Extra into our Eclipse system, I hope. Now we're going to create a new project and we're going to add the Google Play Services to it. You can do this with or without an account. You don't actually need an account for this. So we're going to go File, New, Android App Project. So create a new project. And in the new project, we're going to choose a blank activity. And we're going to ensure that we have at least version 2.0 of the Google Play Services installed. So you can just watch as I do this if you don't have it installed. But File, New, Java Project. And I'm going to call this one Sample Maps. And oops, I want to do Android, not Java Project. I'm sorry, hold on one second. New, Android Project, Sample Maps. And down here, I can't use 2.2 for OEO. I've got to go higher. So I have to go, you have to go 3.2 or above actually for this. So I'm going to go 3.2 on this. So now my API level is 13. I'm using 3.2. Everything else looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. Next, and create my project. Next. So if you're already using a current project type, then you don't necessarily have to do anything different. Now I have my Sample Maps project. So now what I'm going to do is add the mapping features to it. So I forgot to put my microphone thing on, so you guys in the back are probably not going to be able to hear me. But let's just see what happens here. Alright, so I've got the project created. And I have, let's say, for some of you are probably still downloading it, but you have Google Play Services installed. Now you have to add the Play Services project into your Eclipse workspace so that you can link to the project, Play Services sample project or a project itself, to map to the services so you can use Google Services. When you're all done, you're going to go, oh my god, I love iOS. This is so, okay, anyway. So I'm going File, Import, Select Android, Existing Android Code into Workspace. I'm going to add the Google Play Services project in. I actually have it in there already, but let me show you how to do it. I actually have it in here right here. So this is the Google Play Services, but how did I get that in there? You go File, Import, Existing Android Code into Workspace. And then for the directory, I'm going to select the Android folder. So let's go in here. My folder happens to be in users, vhacker, Android /SDK, extras, and then Google Play Services. So the folder you want to select is not necessarily going to be the same path on every computer. If I do this, a few minutes. I just let it go for a few seconds there while I moved over. I see I have a few projects in here. So you want to pick the one that says Google Play Services on it. Here's a Google add-on. I'll just put another one in here actually, because I already have Google Play Services. So the finish up looks like here. It's Google/Play/Services _lib lib. I actually have it in here already. Here it is here actually, because it's grayed out, so I can't put it in. But anyway, here I'll just select all of them. Well, map demo already exists. That's okay. Well, it stopped because it found map demo in here. But anyway, select this one here. We want this one here. So actually, you know what? I have the wrong one. I have this one's 2.2. That's not going to help me. Let me get rid of this one. And let me do that again. I just noticed I don't have the right one in there. Wait a minute, I needed to import. So file, import, existing Android code into workspace. I have to give it a few minutes so it will actually populate. See my little wheel moving around. There, here we go. Let's see. I don't want the map demos. You can actually do it this way. No, it's not going to work for me. Let's see. I don't want all this stuff in here. This is what was causing me a problem before. Google Play Services sample. No, this is the one I needed. Why is that one though listed? Hold on a second. Let's do this expansion API library. Let's do this one here. Google Play License Library. Let's do that one too. Now these, here I just selected other ones. Oh, no, tests already exists. Well, I just selected a bunch of them actually a few minutes ago just to show you how to do it. When you select them, it's going to come in and it's going to load them into your project. The one that you really want is this one here that says Google Play Services on it. So once you do that, you've got the project in there, which means you have the API loaded to your environment, which is what we needed to do with that. Because we're going to use that project in another project that we're going to create. So if you have that in there, go ahead and put that in there. And so add the dependency to the Google Play Services into your new project. So we're going to do that by selecting Project Properties Android Library and then add Google Play Services. So
we need to select all the projects with Google Play.
No, just select it. You're going to get this other stuff like I just got a few minutes ago, which is a bunch of garbage I'm going to have to take out eventually. You just want this one here. It says Google/Play/Services _lib lib. It doesn't really matter what else ones you select. I was just selecting some stuff to show you what it does. It just imports them in. But now what I'm going to end up having to do is just delete them out of there because there's like extra stuff in there. But I have Contact Manager, Cube Wall Settings, Fake Tags Activity. That one looks like it's got a problem, so I'll remove it. So, and you can easily just remove out the ones you don't want. Alright, so let me find this app here. Let me get rid of these tests here too because they look like they're going to be problematic. Okay, so now I'm going to add the Google Play Services lib project. I'm going to add it to my project. So my project right here is called Sample Maps. So I'm going to click on Sample Maps to open it up. I'm going into Project and then into Properties. So Project Properties inside of the brand new project we just created. And then click on Android. Make sure you're on 4.0 or 4.4. Let's see, hold on one second. Let me go back up here. Make sure you're on a 4 point something or 3 point something or above. Then on the bottom, so let's see, what am I in here? I think I'm on a 4. I can't do a 4.0. I'm gonna kind of do a 4.03. On the bottom of the screen down here, hit Add, and then you see it automatically shows up the Google Play Services because it's in my project space. So go ahead and select Google Play Services lib. So that sample project's now getting added. The sample project I imported in, the functionality of that sample project is being added to my project now. So which is kind of a easier way of doing it versus adding all the files into your project. So if the project is just sitting there, we imported the project, it just sits there in my list. I open it, I close it whenever I want, and I just use the project inside of my other projects. It automates the use of the API key, so, which is why we're doing it this way. So go ahead and press OK. Now you see in here I've got Google Play Services that's added to my 4.03. It's going to be, I don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be in there somewhere because I just added it to my libraries. And I downgraded my libraries to 4.03 because that's my emulator that I'm using. So, yeah? Yes, I can. So click on the project, the new project that you're going to create. Select Project and select Properties. Select an API that's going to be compatible with the emulator that you're going to run, which I was on originally on 4.4, which was the default. I went back up to 4.3. On the bottom of the screen, click on the Add button. If the library is in the listing, you've imported that library, it's going to show up in the Add library project. It's a library project. Yeah. Click on that one. Let's see. That's perfect. Select OK. It shows up in the bottom of the window here. You're good. And then press OK. Now it's added to your project. So you added a library project to your project. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me pause this first. So now that we have the sample project added in, this is what the little screen looks like. If you didn't get that, you have to have the library downloaded. Maybe you're still downloading the library. I don't know. If you're still downloading the library, you're not going to have this work correctly. If you've got the library downloaded, this should work. So now we're going to update the main activity.java to extend the fragment activity instead of activity. So we're going to go back in and we're going to add extends fragment activity instead of activity. So we can just add fragment in front of the word. So, and then check the Google Play Services is available on the device at runtime. Well, I don't have the device with me. I just checked my emulator earlier today. It's running on the emulator just fine. You have to add a line of code to the onCreate method to actually run the Google services in your app. So let's just do first things first. Let's go into the source code for the project that we just created, the main activity here, and add fragment activity in front of activity. And then we're going to have to import the libraries for it. So import fragment activity. There we go. Because it extends fragment activity. Why did they call it fragment activity? I have no idea. But they call it fragment activity. So now we have to import fragment activity. So now we have this working. This is a lot of work to get a simple map to show up on your app. Long story short. So add the following line of code to the onCreate method as well. So we have to add an instance for Google Play Services util.Google Play Services available to make it available. Make an instance of the object to make it available, which is pretty much an instance of that app that we just created, that code that we just put in. So in the onCreate, so I'm going to put it actually at the top underneath the super onCreate before I set the context view. I'm going to add this in here too. When I add this in here, I'm going to also have to put the library in. So if you hover your mouse over the thing and it says import Google Play Services util, there we go. And what do we got going on here? Probably there's a space in here. Yes, there's a space. There we go. Correct any cut and paste errors that you might have with that. There was a space that was inserted. So all you should have to do is import the Google Play Services util, and we should be ready to roll for the next step. The next step is going to have us update the resource layout, activity_layout, and replace the entire contents with the following. So I'm going to kind of paste this. We're going to put a fragment layout now in there instead of the linear layout or the relative layout. So let's go ahead, copy this. It's just kind of a makeshift. The layout's going to be this map actually. So it's going to be, the class is going to be the Google Android GMS Maps Support Map Fragment. So let's see. Go into the project, go down into the resource folder, go into the layout folder, and let's change activity_main XML. And in here we have the Hello World template set up for us. Just remove everything in here, the relative layout, just take it all out. And we'll put this one in here. This one's going to show us fragment layout. And do you remember the hotkey? There we go, I got the hotkey. So now I have a fragment, and the fragment is going to have an ID map. I'm going to set, it's just going to be a map. We're just going to show the map is what we're trying to do here. So when we have the map layout put in, it's not really, they should have called it, the old days they used to call it a map view. They don't call it a map view anymore. Now it's a fragment. I don't know. And a fragment is just essentially going to show, running this class here. I think it's probably because it's universal. It works with other things outside of mapping as well. So go ahead and save it. And I don't see any errors, so I'm going to go ahead and proceed on. So the map is controlled through the Google Map object. So we use the find fragment by ID to keep a reference to the Google Map from the layout. So we're going to add the following code underneath. And this is going to be to load the map. So we're going to load a map into the fragment that we did. So I'll copy and talk about the code in a second here. So let's see. Android, there we go. So underneath my Google Play Services, actually I could put it at the end. I could put it before the setting the context view. It doesn't really matter, but I'll put it right here actually. And the line of code that I put in here has got some errors. Let's see, Google Maps. So I have to import Google Maps. If I import Google Maps, I have supported map fragment. I have to import support map fragment, which is the Google component. So now I have that in there, and my little space between that semicolon, between the line return there. So let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see what we're looking at here. So I made an instance of Google Map, which is equal to the support map fragment, which is a kind of a type conversion for get supported map fragment manager.find fragment by ID. This is the ID we put in the layout, get map. So we have to tell the Google Support Services, Google Play Services, that we're going to use this map fragment. And here's the map fragment, and put it in the r.id map, which is the ID we just added to the layout. All right, so we have this in here. We're going to still set the context view to the activity main. That's the view that we're going to be loading for this program. So now the fun time starts. So we're going to use the Google APIs to get an API key. We need the API key to put in the manifest to say that we're allowed to use the map. Anyway, I know, tell me about it. So you need to log into your Google account. You need to go to this window here. And then now I actually have to log into a different Google account, because if you're logged into the wrong Google account, don't log into the wrong Google account. If you're logged into the wrong Google account, it's going to ask you to mix them. Actually, I am logged into the right one, which is good. So let me close this window so you see what happens when I log into it. This is bhacker2. Okay, very good. All right, so bhacker2's got me in here. If I click on this URL just right from the PDF file, it takes me to the window that I want to do. So it says we are improving the experience. Try the new Cloud Console. No, let's not try the Cloud Console. That's how I got integrated before, and I didn't like it. All right, so for every single project that you create, you're supposed to create an app key to download to use with your manifest file for the project that's going to link your computer with the mapping program with your Google Services account. I don't understand why, but okay. Never used to be like this either. All right, so let's see. Now this is the part that you need the account for. If you don't have an account, you haven't paid them $25, you're not going to be able to put a map in your program. Long story short. And people say that Android is more flexible. All right, so check on to create the project. You're going to get this window here. That's the window we got a few minutes ago. So I'm going to show you by doing on mine, and you can see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and select OK to create project. So it's taking me into my APIs. This is loading. Here we go. Whoa. Oh no. And now I'm stuck on this cloud platform. I have agreed to the terms. Okay. Not this again. I'd like to receive email. No. Okay, continue. I'm stuck on the cloud whether or not I want it or not. Looks like. Alright, so this isn't going to match because now I'm using their cloud services. But let's just go ahead and run through this. Maybe I'll figure it out. And the services enabled, which I'm not going to know because they're all disabled right now. We're looking for Google Map Android API version 2, and we have to agree to the terms. So we're going to find Google Map API version 2 in the list. Google Map Android version 2. So I'm going to switch on the off, accept the new terms, press accept, and there we are. We're still off. All right, let me just click on it. Why are we turned off? Now we're on. On, off. Okay, turn it on. So we're enabling the Google Maps API. That's version 3. I don't want version 3. I wanted version 2 actually because I'm working. Oh no, I got version 2 as well. I got them all on. Okay, good. So now it looks like I've got the Google Maps Android API version 2. Slightly different interface than before, but it's okay. To the left on the navigation panel, click on the API access. All right. I don't know if we're still going to have APIs. We have API access. Well, we used to have API access. Permissions. It's probably going to be under permissions now. API is an authentication. Well, registered apps. You have to tell Google Play that your app is allowed to use the Google Play services. So let me look at the next one here. I can probably find it. It looks as if they have changed the menu a bit. I'm going to say it's probably going to be under permissions or API authentication. But let's just take a look here. Overview services. Well, overview is still there. Services is still there. API access. Well, I think it's probably going to be under APIs. So click create new Android key. No, I'm getting a different. Hold on one second. Let me go back to overview. Permissions, settings, support, cloud development. Okay, they've changed the process on me here, but my other app actually still works. Maybe it's part of the menu. No. Registered apps. Registered apps. Hold on one second. You have to upload a key from your computer, stick it in a new Android app key, register with it with your app, with the app name. When the app runs, it goes out to the Google Play services, which is on the internet, authenticates itself through the Google Play account, which is the process here. I believe I might have to cut this short because I don't see the option in here without registering a new app. Which, let me register the new app here, and let's just see what happens. Maybe this might be the option, maybe not. I might have to revisit this for a second. Let's go back. I wanted to go into here. What did I call this one? I called it Sample Maps. So let's just do this for a second. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but let's go here. Sample Maps. And it's an Android app. Yeah, this is going to work. Okay. So what I did is I selected registered apps instead of the other option that was there before. You actually have to call it the same name, or you used to have to call it the same name as the app project that you were using. It's an Android app, and it's accessing the APIs directly from Android. This is going to run from an Android app. So now I have the package name I have to put in, and then I have to upload an SHA1 fingerprint. And I have to do that from a keychain access. So using the API access, we're going to need to generate an SA1 from your computer to stick it in there. I have to actually put the project, so let me see what the project path is. I'll copy it from here. Well, I'll just type it. It's com.examples.sampleapps. So let's go back into here. Here we go. example.sample.maps. Okay. Now the next task is I have to actually stick the key in here. The key, this is new. It makes it look like this, which looks like it's pretty good. So let's go get the key. In order to get the key, mind you, we're doing all of this so we could put a map in our app. It would take 2 seconds to do this on an iOS device. Okay, so I think I've made my point clear. All right, so we're going to need to generate an SA1 from using the key tool. So I'm going to go into my terminal prompt, and I'm going to use the key tool. And I don't think I need the -v anymore, but let's just take a look here. I'm going to copy and paste and stick this in my terminal window so then I can cut and paste out of my terminal window the key and stick it in my SA1 key spot. So I'm going back to the terminal window and I'm going to paste the key in here. And it's going to tell me that, yeah, the -v is not needed anymore. There we go. So there's my key. So this is on a MacBook, by the way. So if you're a Windows person, you're going to need to run it. The key tool exists. The key tool is actually part of the Android SDK. So you're going to do it from, let's go back to the tutorial here. For Windows computers, you have to go into .android directory to use your users. It is your users directory. So from .android, this is the screenshot from a. Well, this is actually not the screenshot from a Windows machine. This is the screenshot from a MacBook. But the command is the same, except the backslashes are now, the forward slashes are now backslashes. And you have to go into the .android directory. It's hidden for some strange reason on a Windows system. It's in .android. But this is the command. If you're on a MacBook, I just typed it in. And when I typed it in, I got the certificate fingerprint from MD5, and it looks like this. Do we need a few minutes, or anyone following along? No, you got it? Did you do this?
No.
No? All right. I don't think anyone's following along. Unless you've paid $25 to Google, you're probably not following along.
It's showing $0.
I'm sorry?
For new accounts.
It's, how much is it?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay. For new accounts, it's nothing?
Yeah.
I think it costs just $25. Let me know. Open up another account if it's free. All right, so maybe it's showing 0, 0 because you haven't paid anything into them yet. All right, so moving right along, I'm going to take this fingerprint here. We're going to see a map work by the end of this. And see how it's formatted here. I'm going to paste it into the window. When I've pasted it into the window, now I've registered this computer with this Android app called Sample Maps. Hopefully I've done that correctly. With this package name. So I'm going to go ahead and click register. It's going to say you have inputted an invalid Android SA1 fingerprint. It's not invalid. Did I miss? It's not invalid. The problem might be, however, that I used my Google account with a different computer. So that API key is actually going to be in that sample app that I can download and look at. So let's assume that this worked. because I've registered this. I've got the key through another computer. Let's just do this for a second here. 21. No, EB43. No. That should be the correct MD5. Wait a minute. Let's just take a look here. Oh, I have to put resulting dialog entered in, then a semicolon with your application name. I didn't put my application name on the end of it, so yes, they're right, it is invalid. So at the end of it, I have to put a semicolon along with the name of my app that I have in there, so they're correct, it is invalid. So I'm going to paste my code in here, put a semicolon at the end of it, and then putting com.example semicolon? Yeah, I put a semicolon in. com.example.sample maps. Let's see if that's correct. That was map demo. Alright, so let's see if this works. Nope, invalid. Alright. Sample maps was in there. Let's just put the semicolon at the end. Let's do this actually. Cut. Paste. No, not gonna let me do it. Paste. Input an invalid Android SA1 fingerprint. SHA1, and this is MD5. You know what? I have the MD5 instead of the SHA1 from the key tool. So how did I get this one previously? Using the -V. But the -V, let's just try this out for a second here. Ah, there we go. Alright, so I was trying to use the MD5 instead of the SHA1. So now let me try the SHA1. It's a longer key actually. Copy it. And now let me stick that into the interface.
It says that the key tool is not recognized.
It might be the directory that you're in.
It's the same users.android.
Okay, let me just see if this works first, and then we'll troubleshoot. No, I think let's just take this out of the bottom here. I don't know if we need that anymore. Ah, success. Okay. So now that I got mine to work, let me go around and check yours for a second. Did you just move your car? Okay, good. So now I don't feel so rushed. Thank you. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Let me pause this for a second. And, okay, so a couple of things changed on it. You don't have to put... So when you get this output, make sure you're taking the SH1, and you do not have to put this on the end of it anymore. Because they have a separate box for it now, so you put it in a separate box above it. So once it's complete, it should look like this. You should come back, and I now have sample maps, and in sample maps, my application I have registered, it says Android application. I have access via, I have the authorization 2.0 client, and I have an Android key. So it says use this for accessing data not associated with the account from Android. So if I click on the little button here, I see the key. Android APIs and API key. The API key is going to be part of the app that we're going to use. So just leave this window open, don't close it, because we're going to need to cut and paste and put that key back in. So again, if you're on a Windows machine, you got to go into the .android folder. It's a hidden folder. It's not visible to humans or to programmers. It's hidden. So you have to use the dot on a Windows machine. And then you have to get the forward slashes turned into backslashes, and you got to change the syntax. But if you can do that, what you're going to end up doing is the same command. So, okay, so after pressing on create, we didn't get to see this. The interface looks a little bit different, but this looks very similar. Well, it looks very different actually to what the current view looks like. So don't expect the whole thing to look like this. So if you have the debug and production keys, you can use them both, or you can use one or the other. Your API key will be a 40-character string that looks like kind of like that. And here it says API key. This is the old screenshot. On the new version that we just looked at, the API key looks like this. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to highlight this key, and I'm going to press copy. We're going to need to put this API key inside of our app. So that's the API key we're going to reference in a few minutes. So let's go back to the PDF file here. You need to add the following tag into your Android manifest.xml file. And it's going to go in between the opening and the closing application tag. So the following tag looks like this here. In fact, maybe I shouldn't have copied the key already because I need to put the key in here. So I'm going to take this out and copy this one. And then open up my manifest file and paste this in between the application start and application close tag. So I'm going back to the Android here. And now I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, just condense things down a little bit, and go into the Android manifest. And I'm going to switch it over to the XML view so I can actually see it. And then now I have my start application and my closing application. I'm going to stick it like towards the bottom here. I'm going to stick it down here so I can find it. And what I've added in here was the Google Maps 2 version API. And see where it says Android:value equals, and it says your API key. This is where you're going to stick your API key. So I'm going to go back out to the website here, recopy this, and then I wonder why there's a replace key. I don't want to do that. A new key will be available immediately, and the current key will be deactivated. Now let's not do that. So go ahead and highlight, copy, make sure you get the whole key, and stick that into your Android project. In between the two quotes, we need the quotes around it. Paste it in there. Your key is going to look different than my key. This is the reason why we need it, because when your app runs, the manifest is going to go outside. Go contact Google Play Services through your API that you've got installed here. Validate the key. Make sure that the app name is the same name as the app that's using it. Each app has to have its own key. And basically validate it. Why all this process to show a map, I'm really not quite sure, but that's the process. So we've made some progress here. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the manifest, or save the manifest, and hopefully I don't have any errors or anything, and I don't. So I'm looking pretty good with that. So let's see, we're almost done here. So your app now needs to follow the permissions. So we need to change the permissions in Android to use the maps. So we can add the permission, your package app permissions. We're going to change that in a few minutes. And then we're going to add uses permission for the map received. So we're going to give it the permission to receive a map. So actually I'm just going to copy all of this here because it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste this one in to the project here. We still have to go back to the manifest actually. And in the manifest, I'm going to put this one down towards the bottom here. Does it go inside of the application? No, I think it's going to go down here. Let's just take a look. Paste. Let's see if I get any error when I save it. Nope, I got lucky. Let's see. Format it. There we go. So now, because I cut and pasted it and I put it in there rather than using the menu to do it, I'm going to need to change where it says your package name to my real package name, which is com.com. let me just see here. com.example dot sample maps. I think that's what I called it. Yes, I did. So I've added the permission for the internet to write to the external storage, so I can cache any map details I want to the SD card. And then also here the provider for JSF permission to read JS or global the map services essentially. And then we have the maps receive permission added as well. So let's see if this is actually going to work. So optionally you can include one or both of these following permissions to enable auto location. So remember the location services, they've been around since forever. The auto location services, if you put these guys in here, I will put them in there. It'll enable the different location services to be inactivated. So you can set the current location and then zoom into the current location. So I'll go ahead and put these in there as well. So just because maybe I want to increase something, I don't know, do something different with this app, so who knows. Alright, so I have those two services added in here as well. I just put them underneath the application closing tag, and they're before the manifest closing tag, obviously. So, and I'm just trying to do a double check here, make sure everything's good. Everything looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and close the manifest, save it, close it. And now let's take a look here. So Maps 2 uses, the Maps version 2 uses OpenGL. So you have to, following uses feature is also required. Oops, I probably shouldn't have closed the manifest, but I guess it's a good idea to close it and save it, just to make sure it's still working. So we have to turn on the OpenGL access as well in the manifest. And I need to add this in here as well, so I'm going to go ahead and let's just add this line as well. So I'm going to reopen up that manifest. Probably should rewrite this tutorial anyway, since how most of the screenshots have changed with the current Google Play. But now I have the GLES version and the OpenGL service essentially set to true. So. All right. Now you can test your application and click on the logcat output for any errors. If it's trying out the Google Map options, these are some of the different options you can do. Let's see, attribute requirements. If Google Maps API is in your application, you need to include Google Play services, attribution text, and the legal notices. I think this is done for you automatically right now, actually. But when you subscribe and you actually put your app into the market or the Google Play services, you have to actually give legal notices and say, hey, we're using the Google API for Maps in here. And include the legal notices for any independent menu items, such as the About menu or anything that may also be required. And the attribution text is available at this URL. It may not necessarily be still there, it might have changed. So upon testing, you might get the following screen. Let's show you how to test this in a few minutes. If you run this with a regular old emulator, so now the app is actually done at this point. In fact, your Google services, for each one of, let me just go back to here for a concept here. You have to register each one of the apps, upload the same. In fact, if you wanted to store the SH1, you could, or you can copy and paste it out of other apps that are already registered. So you don't actually have to run keystore every time and reinvent the wheel. I had to do it because this is a different computer than the one I've been using with this account. So I'm not sure if my maps would have worked with the old computer SHI because I'm running it on this one. But long story short, every single app that you're going to do a map with, you have to do this. This also is the same process that you're going to go through for the cloud services and for other frameworks that are part of Google Play. But Maps is probably the most popular. So once you do that, you can actually, you don't need to keep map services open at all. So now the trick is how you're going to run it. So we have the XML interface out there. We have to actually create. So if you go into the window and you go into the virtual device manager, you have to create a device that's going to work with the Google Map services. Your regular old standard Android emulator isn't going to work. instead what you're going to get, if you try to run with a regular emulator, you're going to get this. This is Get Google Play Services, but you can't install it on the regular one. So instead what they did is they created ones with it. So I'm going to call this one here Google Emulator. And on the device, just select whatever device you normally select. The target's the thing. So now that you've installed the Google Play Services through the extras, you also get the APIs that go with it. Excuse me, the emulators that go with it. So you want to select one of these that says Google APIs. The Android ones don't work. So you're going to select one. Actually, there's one add-on for Google TV. I've never been able to get that to work, however. But long story short, select one of these Google APIs. I've got one here actually already selected. If I look at the properties for this one is on the API level 13. You have to create one with the level of the API that you're running with. Actually, this one should be 14 because maybe that's why it wasn't working actually. I believe I'm using 4.03 on my sample app. So if I do and select a 4.03, that's level 15 actually. Let me just do 15 here. So I have a level 15. I'm going to give this a try to see if it works actually. So if I go ahead and do a run and a run as Android application, it should bring up the appropriate one. So let's take a look here. Oops, it's still compiling it. I've not had any luck, however, getting any of the emulators working, which is why I do the VirtualBox, by the way. So let's give it a few minutes. I'm optimistic. Let's see what happens. If not, I'm going to run it on my 4.03 VirtualBox emulator, which is why I selected 4.0. But oh, look at here. So it says Google Maps. This is the emulator that I created. We'll give it a few minutes and see what happens with it. Unfortunately, if it does work, I should get the main screen is just the map. It's just going to show me a map. All I want to do is see the map at this point. So we'll give that a few minutes. We'll see what happens. But if you're running it on a real phone, you could plug a phone in and drag the APK file over. If you get this, all you have to do is select Get Google Play Services. You have to install Google Play Services on the phone in order for you to use the Google Play Services for the map. So if you're on a real phone, you can do this. If not, you're going to need to use one of these right emulators. And a little screenshot shows you this one here actually with level 15, which was the last time I did this, was using the same emulators I have now. So I'm still on 4.03. But long story short, at this point, I don't know how much time I'm going to give it. It looks like it may have frozen actually. Let's just give it a few more minutes. What I should see is when the app opens up, it's just a map of the US. Let's see what happens here. I believe I might be hosed. I'll be optimistic. This is supposed to be scrolling with the, you're supposed to be going back and forth. It doesn't appear to be going. I'm just hoping it's not going to record, not going to blow my recording software. You know what? I'm just going to force quit it actually right now. No, can't force quit it. Oh, I can. Okay, good. Let me load my VirtualBox emulator. I have a 4.03 here. 4.3. Well, it should work. If you have an installed emulator, which this one is, then you can install Google Play Services in your emulator. If you do that, then you can run, oh, this is going to work. Okay, so you can run the Google Play Services from the emulator because you can install it in there. So let's see. Let me connect my emulator. Oops, wrong one. Let's see. Got my emulator connected. Let me run the project now. Let's see, run configurations. Target, always ask for the target. Okay, so we're good to go so far. Where's my emulator? Here it is. Oh, not so good. Unfortunately, sample apps has stopped. It might be that I don't have the SD card enabled here. So now's the time I wish I had my real phone with me. You have one? Does there? Maybe I can get it to work on your phone then. I've plugged in other phones. Do you have the cable for it as well?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get it to work. Do you have yours working? Do you have yours? Maybe you can get yours to work.
No.
Your project?
I was saying error. Exclamation error. That's why it's not working.
Oh, let me see if I can get your phone to work here, actually. If you don't mind. Let's see. So you, that's not USB. I got the USB over here. You might have to acknowledge, let's see.
Before that, I ran applications.
Do you see anything on there that says connect using the SD card? Sometimes on the Galaxies, you have to give it permission to connect. Connect as a media device right here.
That's it.
There we go. Media device.
It will work.
But usually I see it on my desktop. Let's see.
I ran my application. That's working. Before that, whatever I
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See,
It's the Android connectivity tool.
But my Galaxy tab doesn't need that.
This is for the S3 and S4s, I think.
Oh, really?
All applications here.
I know, but what I'm trying to do is, okay, so let me load it, actually here, let me put it on a website, and we'll download it from the website, and we'll put it on there. So, hold on one second. Let me upload the app to a website. So you guys can try, actually, I didn't know why I didn't think about that before, actually. So in the bin directory, I've got my sample maps here. And that's my APK file. So let's take the APK file. It's called sample maps.apk. Put it on bhacker.com. Okay, and then let's see. I don't see it on here. I don't know what's going on here. Let me just drag it one more time. Sample maps.apk. Hold on one second. I need to. See. No, I don't know why this isn't working. Let's just refresh it. Let me pause this for a second. So on an Android device, on your device, open up your web browser. Yoo-hoo! On your Android device, open up your web browser. Go to bhacker.com/capital S and sample capital M maps.apk. Or if you want, I can do it for you if you want. I just want to see if it works on your, if it'll work on yours. If not, then it's going to be an Android permission we have to open up then. It's a sample maps.
Yeah?
No, it says wrong web page. Let's see.
No, I haven't typed yet.
Oh, www.bhacker.com. Oh, B. Oh, B. Hold on a second. B H. Jesus. .com/. Okay, so this is capital SAMPLE maps.
Capital M.
Yeah, maps.apk. Then go. Starting to download. Said starting download. Okay, so how do you get to downloaded app? Where's your downloaded folders?
It's giving the error that there's a problem passing the package.
Hold on a second. Let me go see your error. Actually, let me pause this. So apparently we're having the same effect on the real emulators as we have on real phones as we do on the emulator. So I'm going to take a look at the debugging stuff. I'm going to run it one more time and see if I can get something that comes out of the debugger. It's going to tell me hopefully about some permission or something, which means I'm going to need to start that VirtualBox emulator again. At least I know it's not the emulator this time, so it's a little easier to troubleshoot it. I have a strange feeling it has something to do with the permissions file, actually. But we'll see. Even though as a side comment though, even though that the key and everything for the app was registered under my computer and everything, it's going to work on anybody's computer. It's not tied to the computer at all. So let's see. Where is here it is, sample apps. So let's take a look here. Connectivity services. Not going to tell me very much, is it? I don't know. Let's just see quick here. Maps 2. It wasn't Maps 2 demo. It was called something else. Wait a minute. It was called Sample Maps. Share content. Here, sample maps. So let's see what we got going on here. The class loader, basic. Where's API? Android support for version 4 of fragments exception. So I'm getting an exception on the fragments. Interesting. It might actually be because of the older API. Okay, so I can't easily find out why it's not working. It seems to be an API problem with fragments because I'm getting a class not found exception, and then I'm getting the Google Maps support fragments on path something or other. So I'm getting a non-supportive. It might just be that I don't have Google services installed. It might just be the API version. Can't really tell you off the top of my head why that's not working. Generally, when you see that exception come up, it's because something is wrong with the package, with the app itself in terms of the supported framework. So I will troubleshoot that between now and next week, and we'll see why that's not working, actually. So, anybody get theirs to work at all? No? Okay. Well, at least now, hopefully you have an idea about how, in fact, I don't have any, see, this is the interesting thing, I don't have any error messages at all with the project. It just doesn't run. So it's either going to be a manifest problem or an emulator problem. I suspect it's an emulator issue, actually, right now. But we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, long story short, now you sort of see, hopefully, the process of using Google Play. So if you're going to get into Android development, you're probably going to end up getting a Google Play account eventually. And then when you use the map key, you have to do the map keys this way. All of the other Google services are done the same way. So you're stuck with the Google account. The good thing is, though, is once you have everything working, you just upload your app into the account. So in your account, once you have everything ready to go, this is also the interface for your app. So you would come in and you'd add, let's say, add a new application. So if you're going to add, and I'll go through the screen here so you can sort of see what we're looking at. I wanted to publish my app, and I want to stick my app in the Google Play Store. This is what I would do. So I'm going to pretend like, actually, I can stick this one in here. I have the app down here, actually. But it's going to require that I go through a bunch of things first because I need to add a certificate to my app. So if I come through here, and I'm going to go through the motions here, and so you can see what it is or how easy it is. It's actually pretty easy to put something into the, although it doesn't post immediately, it has to get checked out by the Google folks. So they're not going to like this one anyway. So if I put a title in here, I'm going to call it Sample Maps. And then you can prepare the store listing. So you can list in here, put screenshots in here, put a description of your app, do a bunch of other stuff with it. You have to actually fill in most of this. Some of it's required, some of it's not, like promotional videos were not required. But you do have to put in a certain number of screenshots. And then the other button, oops, in terms of my draft here, I can also upload the API. So services for the API, the APK file. The APK file is empty right now. So if you said upload your final APK file and browse, and I'm going to select my APA file off of my desktop, and it's going to be my sample apps. I'm going to open it up. It's going to tell me that it failed because you uploaded an API that is not zipped. They're not zipped aligned. You'll run an APK align tool on your APK to upload it again. So that's an interesting message. I think there's something wrong with my, there's definitely something wrong with that APK file. So maybe that's why it wasn't working. It could be that the APA file is not in a good format. But anyway, long story short, the menuing system will actually walk you through what you need for a licensing fee. So it says, did you read the licensing, get a licensing key for your app? You download the licensing key as an example here from your account. You put it into your app. You sign your app, which is probably why that's not going to work. And then you upload your app. So the process, believe it or not, has changed completely within the last month or so. So I would hesitate following any predefined tutorial. Instead, what you'll need to end up having to do is go through the Google Play console and follow through the prompts to see what you need. Because most of it is probably about the same, but there's some new requirements. New requirements for license agreements, for signature. Well, the signing is an old thing. You still have to sign your apps from the old days. But anyway, long story short, this is the console. After you pay your $25, this is the console that you're going to use to upload it into the Google Play Store. And then once you upload it into the Google Play Store, I'll show you this other one that's actually in there already. If I can get to the developer console. Here's one here. This one's been published, so you can see it's all filled out with a description about it. I put some screenshots in here. This is the ITU Android. I don't know. It's kind of a stupid little app I put together. I shouldn't call it stupid, but anyway, it's you have to put a license key in here. You have to upload screenshots. You have to put a description in here. There's a bunch of little stuff that they require. Then once you do that, you can come in here and you can look at, for example, the analytics and stuff. So you can click on the current number of installs. Actually, I don't know how many people have actually installed this thing. A lot of people did in the beginning. Oh, October was a pretty high month, it looks like. But this was out like 2011 or something like that, or 2012, like quite a long time ago. So, and it looks like everybody's on 4.1 Android as well. So, anyway, long story short, this is the interface that you're going to use when you publish your app. Once you pay your $15 or whatever it is, 25 bucks, whatever, you just upload as many apps as you want. In fact, maybe I can get rid of this draft actually while I'm here. I might have to get rid of it later. So, delete this app. There we go. got rid of it. So, long story short, this is sort of the interface. It's a little bit easier than the Apple interface, actually. And it's a little less money per year. This is only like $25. I think the Apple's like $50 or something like that, or $100. Actually, it might be $99. So, yeah, both of these have their pros and cons.
How long does it take an app to get approved?
About 12 hours, 24 hours. It's not too bad. So, one of the reasons why it doesn't get approved half the time is the language used in the app or the theme of the app. The only thing they really care about is, the lack of, they don't want foul language in the app, and then they don't want pirated stuff, like images and things that are used by somebody else. So they run like a little scanner on it, tests for vocabulary, and then they'll also test for copyrighted material and stuff like that, music videos, stuff like that. If there's nothing proprietary in it, it gets approved. So.
There are no standards like the way they are having, like the iOS people are having this specific standards.
The standards are not as high. If you go to the developer.android, they used to have it out here actually, developer.android.com, used to have submission standards. Let's see if it's still here. App submission. Let's just look at that. Launch checklist for Android development. There used to be a whole checklist. Understanding the publishing process. Test the core app quality. Core app quality guidelines. Here we go. Standard design. The navigation has to support certain back button navigation controls, notifications, permissions. You just basically had to, like, if your app has a lot of permissions but it doesn't use the permissions, it'll get rejected. So if you open up all the permissions on there, but your app doesn't need all that, you'll get rejected and you'll get a notice. Because it's kind of a safety issue. If you've opened up the manifest to have everything and you don't need everything. So, all right. I believe there's nothing more I could possibly show you on this without making it not work or making it work. There's no way I can get this to work. Long story short. So I will end this recording.